Gopijana Bhalabha Giribharadhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giribhara Dhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Ashtotarashata Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Grantarash Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Oh glory to the assembled devotees, oh glory to the assembled devotees, oh glory to the assembled devotees, oh glory to Shishi Guru and Shiguranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, General History, Chapter 5. Narada concludes his teachings to Vasudev. Text number 26 and 27. Vishnurjagya Prishni Garbha Vishnurjagya Prishni Garbha Sarvadeva Urakrama Sarvadeva Urukrama Vrishakapir Jayantascha Vrishakapir Jayantascha Urugaja Itiryate Urugaja Itiryate Vishnurjagya Vishnujagya Prishni Garbha Sarvadeva Urukrama Vrishikapir Jayantascha Urugaya Itiryate Vishnurjagya Prishni Garbha Sarvadeva Urukrama Vrishakapirjayantascha Urugaya itiryate. Please chant. Vrishakapirjayantascha Urugaya itiryate. Vishnurjagya prishni garbha Sarvadeva urukrama Vrishakapirjayantascha Urugaya itiryate. Vishnurjagya prishni garbha Sarvadeva urukrama Vrishakapirjayantascha Urugaya itiryate. Vishnurjagya prishni garbha Sarvadeva urukrama Vrishakapirjayantascha Urugaya itiryate. Vishnu, the all-pervading Supreme Lord. Jagyaha, the Supreme Personality of Sacrifice. Prishnigarbha, the son of Prishni and Prajapati Sutapa. Sarvadevaha, the Lord of all lords. Urukramaha, the performer of wonderful deeds. Vrishakapihi, the Lord who dispels all sufferings and rewards all desires simply by being remembered. Jayantaha, the all-victorious. Cha and Urugayaha, the most glorified. Iti, by these names, Iryate, he is called. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In Tetra Yuga, the Lord is glorified by the names Vishnu, Jagya, Prishnigarbha, Sarvadeva, Urukrama, Vrishakapi, Jayanta, and Urugaya. Purport. Prishnigarbha refers to Krishna's incarnation as the son of Prishni Devi and Prajapati Sutapa. Vrishakapi indicates that if the living entities simply remember the Lord, He is inclined to shower all benedictions upon them, thus satisfying their desires and removing their miseries. Since the Lord is always victorious, He is called Jayanta. Text number 27. Dwapare Bhagavan Shama Pita Vasha Nijayudha Srivatsadibhir Ankaischa Lakshanair Upalakshita. Translation. In Dwarpa Yuga, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears with a dark blue complexion, wearing yellow garments. The Lord, transcendental body, is marked in this incarnation with Srivatsa and other distinctive ornaments, and he manifests his personal weapons. Purport. The Lord's transcendental body in Dwapara Yuga can be compared to the color of a dark blue flower. The Lord exhibits his personal transcendental weapons such as Sudarshana Chakra, and all of the limbs of his body, especially his hand and feet, are decorated with auspicious symbols such as a lotus flower and a flag. And in his chest, the Lord manifests the Kaustuba jewel, as well as the auspicious Srivatsa, a whorl of hair curling from the left right on the right side of the Lord's chest. Actually, such auspicious marks as Kaustuba and Srivatsa, as well as the weapons of the Lord, are present in all the Vishnu Tattva incarnations. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that these universal characteristics of the Lord mentioned by sage Karavanjana are indication of the Krishna avatar, because Krishna is the source of all incarnations. All the symptoms of all other incarnations are to be found in his transcendental body. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurube Namaha. Namaom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Romapada Swami Iti Namine. Namaom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. This is a section that explains the Yuga avatars of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it's quite a special subject matter to unpack. And I'm going to quote Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, especially from his Jaiva Dharma book, in which he describes, there's a part in the Jaiva Dharma that describes the Yuga avatars and the establishment of the Yuga Dharma by these different avatars, which is quite wonderful the way Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains. It's a whole theology on the Yuga Dharma. So it's quite nice. So we start this section by Karam Bhajana Muni answering the question to Maharaj Nimi. So Maharaj Nimi asks, let's go back a little bit and put it all together. Because the whole session, there's session, and this is a very important session, especially because all lead to the famous verse of Krishna Varna and Tusha Krishna, that describe the Yuga avatar for the age of Kali. So there's all these things are being described, and this is a very important session to understand, especially for us who are Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So, King Nimi inquire, in what colors and forms does the Supreme Personality of Godhead appear in each of the different ages and with what names and by what types of regulated principles is the Lord worshipped in human society. So, Karambhajana Muni replied, in each of the 4 yugas or ages, Krita, Treta, Dwarpa, and Kali, or Satya, Treta, Dwarpa, and Kali, Lord Keshava appears in various completions, names and forms, and is thus worshipped by various processes. So he started to explain each of the ages like that. And these are, it'd be nice, if we have organized it that, like today, I'm talking one verse on Tetra and one verse on Dharpa, but there's several verses. Say, from verse 21 to verse 23 is Satya Yuga. To verse 24 to 26 is Tetra Yuga. From 27 to 30 is Dwarpa Yuga. And then we go into Kali Yuga, 31 and 32. 32 is a famous verse, Krishna Varnan Tusha Krishna verse. So quite wonderful. So it'd be nice, if it's all packed like that, when it's organized. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I find it quite wonderful to understand this. Because what the whole theology of that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur shared with us is the descent of mercy. It's a theology of the descent of mercy through the Yuga avatars. So we have the 4 yugas, Satya, Tetra, Dwarpa, and Kali. So what Srila Bhaktivinoda describes is a gradual movement of divine compassion. It's a gradual unfolding of the Lord's mercy to the world, to the whole cosmic manifestation. So how does this unfold? Is actually correlated as humanity declines, the Lord comes closer, making a much more easier path and a much more merciful display of, the Lord's, a much greater display of the Lord's mercy. So it's correlated. As there is a decline in human qualification, then the mercy becomes even greater. And that's how it works. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in Jaiva Dharma, as the yuga declines, the Lord simplifies the path. So he says, when the living beings become weakened in their spiritual capacity, the Lord makes the process easier. According to the Yuga, he prescribes the Dharma that is suitable and merciful. So we know that is explained that in Satya Yuga, later in the 12th canto, this is explained by Sukadev Goswami, that in Satya Yuga, meditation is a process. In Tetra Yuga, there is massive sacrifice. In Dwarpa Yuga, deity worship. And in Kali Yuga, Nam Sankirtan. Understanding the Nam Sankirtan is the easiest, but also is the essence of all Yuga Dharmas. Everything is manifested. The full potency of the Supreme Lord, the full potency is manifested in Nam Sankirtan, which is quite something. So everything is leading to that. In the previous manifestations of Dharma, there is a particular aspect of the Lord's potency. So we're going to learn that in Satya is the full manifestation of his Aishwarya potency. And in Kali Yuga, it's a the whole thing is complete. So we're going to go through that unfolding according to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur sort of emphasized that. He writes, the Lord reveals the process according to people's qualifications, his adhikar. As their qualification diminishes, the Lord becomes more merciful. So we start with Satya Yuga, which from verse 20 to verse 23. So in Satya Yuga, it is explained that that the Supreme Lord reveals his greatness. But the mercy, there's no need of mercy is minimal when it comes to a process, because people are so highly qualified that they were capable of a very, very advanced process, and they were capable by that process and by their qualification to actually come to the Lord. So the Lord didn't need necessarily to come to them. I mean, there's other avatars, but when we talk about Yuga avatar, the establishing of a Yuga Dharma. So the description is, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, men were peaceful and pure. Their hearts were steady and suited for dhyana, or meditation. According to their high qualification, the Lord prescribed meditation. So people in that age, they naturally have long spans, lifespans. You know, they live longer, 100,000 years. Steady minds, little distraction, a culture of truthfulness is why it's called Satya Yuga. There was this culture of truthfulness. And therefore, there was no need for complex rituals or symbols or things like that. People were extremely qualified. So the Yuga Dharma is simple, dhyana, meditation. Now, this is very important to understand. The dhyana that is explained here is not impersonal meditation, it's devotional meditation. It's devotional meditation. So it's not the dry impersonalism, but it's a peaceful personal reflection on the Supreme Lord. And that was Satya Yuga, extremely qualified. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur continues. In Satya Yuga, the living beings have very high qualification. The Lord therefore gives a very elevated process, meditation. So, we can, summarize like this. The people in Satya Yuga, truthful, pure-hearted, long-lived, steady, and peaceful minds. Like that, peaceful. The devotional part, the devotion, meditated, philosophical, and reverential. The process, dhyana, or meditation, long, deep meditation on the Lord. The appearance of the Lord, it is explained that it was a white appearance, four-armed Lord Vishnu, serene, tranquil, in meditation like that. The mood is Aishwarya, majestic, and the devotees were always with a steady concentration and meditation. And the reason is that the people natural adhikar, the qualification, make the whole thing possible. So now, the age of Satya becomes very contrasting to the other ages, Tetra, Dwarpa, and Kali, in terms of how the qualifications of people start to decline. And then the mercy of the Lord started to unfold. In Satya, the mercy was minimal. In Tetra, Dwarpa, and Kali, it start to unfold in full. And goes in correlation, according to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of the decline of people's adhikari. So, the gradual descent of mercy begins after Satya Yuga. Srila Bhaktivinoda. As the ages decline, the road reveals progressively easier processes. This is a special mercy to the weakened souls. So, we can picture like this. I mean, maybe like in a graphic. There is a downward curve of human qualifications as the yugas, unfold. And there's an upward curve on divine mercy, like that. So that's just two things. So in Tetra Yuga, the mercy comes, or the path, or the method, the Yuga Dharma, comes through external action. So the explanation goes like this. When the minds of men become weaker, the Lord prescribes yajna, dependent on external action. So, great sacrifices in which there was the action of actually performing those things. And so the description in the verse that we read today, 26, is that the Lord appears and is known as Vishnu, which is the all-pervading protector, Yajna, which is the personality of sacrifice, Sarvadeva, which is the Lord of all demigods, Urukrama, the performers of great deeds, and Vrishakapi, which is the giver of benedictions by just mere remembrance. So, because human beings in the age of Tetra, their capacity to sustain long, deep meditation diminish, then the Lord provides this path in which, it's almost like He lowers the bar, and then now the Yuga Dharma becomes a visible ritual. It's not something that you sit in meditation and it's in your mind, but now becomes a visual ritual, a tangible process, an action. And the Lord responds immediately to the sacrificial offerings. And that's in the spite of the mixed, even if there is mixed devotion, the Lord still responds through those sacrifices. So, in the form of the fire sacrifice, He accepts the offerings. He becomes present. And He accepts as Jagyartha, or the Yajna, as Yajna, He accepts the offerings like that. So Srila Bhaktivinoda explained, as qualification diminished, the Lord accepts even partial devotion offered through action. And then the name Vrishakapi shows or reveals the special mercy of the Lord in the age of Tetra. He is explained in this verse, or in the purport actually, that He satisfied in the verse actually, He satisfied the desires and removed the miseries simply by remembering. So that type of smarana is the manifestation of the Lord's mercy, special mercy in Tetra Yuga. So now in Dwarpa Yuga, the mercy becomes even greater because again, the decline of the capacity, the adhikari of humans. So Srila Bhaktivinoda describes Dwarpa Yuga in this way. In Dwarpa Yuga, the Lord appeared in his beautiful form, for the hearts of men became distracted and require a visible object of worship. It's quite something, no? Obviously, with the decline in qualification, now humans needed to see, to have a direct perception of the personality of Godhead. So now he manifests form. And that form is described, not only the form, but the beauty of the Lord that attracts the heart of the people of Dwarpa Yuga. So in verse 27, emphasizes this form, or describes this form, Sham, dark blue and enchanting. Sham Sundar, the enchanting form of the Lord. Pita Vashaha, which means his garments, yellow garments. And you can imagine also the color combination is really, really beautiful. Very attractive. It captures the eyes like that. Nija Yudha, with his divine weapons and his ornaments, Srivatsa and Kostuva, that are exalted symbols and ornaments. So it's a very attractive. So remember, the Yuga Dharma that is established here is deity worship. So the Lord manifests, not only manifests in the deity form, or actually the deity form is always there, but the special focus on the form of the Lord, on worshiping the form, but also the Yuga avatar, in this case Lord Krishna, manifests that beautiful form. And is very much there, in which people actually are able to see him, to adorn him, to serve him directly, and to worship his form. Have that personal interaction. So Dwarpa Yuga have a much more greater manifestation of mercy, because now it's a personal, in comparison to a fire sacrifice, or to a very distant, both in Satya and Tetra, the lords of the demigods. For human society, that was a much more distant, a sort of connection with the Lord. But now, in Dwarpa, there's a capacity to have that personal interaction with the Lord, either through interacting with the Yuga avatar, Lord Krishna, or with the deity form, worshiping the deity. So big deity worship, Yuga Dharma. Srila Bhaktivinoda, the Lord reveals his form so that those with unsteady minds may be attracted through beauty and sweetness. The Lord adjusts his manifestation to match human weakness. People can no longer maintain long sacrifices. Their minds are restless their heart needs something concrete, beautiful, personal. So the Lord reveals as Sham, the irresistible personal Lord. This is divine mercy in visual form. So the key principle that is constantly being explained in this theology is that the Lord comes nearer and nearer as the living beings fall lower and lower. And basically this is just giving us the preamble to understand the most merciful appearance of the Lord in Kali Yuga. As you know, is bringing us to that. And Sage Karambajan Muni is doing that. Our acharyas are simply unfolding that whole theology for us to understand very clearly. So again, in Tetra, he is accessible to sacrifice. In Dwarpa, he becomes personally present for worship. This movement prepares the ultimate descent of mercy in Kali. In Kali Yuga, the Lord gives his holy name, the most merciful of all his manifestations. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Harinam Chintamani. So, we're going to discuss, well, tomorrow, I don't know how the verses are organized. If my wife was organizing before, you would put it, in blocks that, make sense. We're discussing about Dwarpa, and then when we discuss about Kali like that. So tomorrow we have still Dwarpa Yuga for a few more verses when we get to Kali Yuga. So in Kali Yuga, the full manifestation of mercy, what is that full manifestation? Comes in the form of the Nam Avatar and the Bhakta Rupa. So he descends as the holy names, and he comes to establish that as a Yuga Avatar in his Bhakta Rupa, Lord Chaitanya, the Yuga Avatar. In Kali Yuga, and this is in the we know, well, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur expand on Lord Chaitanya's Shikshastaka 2 on the Harinam Chintamani. The names does not depend on purity of time, place, or circumstance. The name descends even to the most fallen. So this is the climax of the descent of mercy, because humanity has fallen, short life, weak memory, constant distraction, heavy sins, no fixed minds. What's the verse? I got a blank in my mind. Manda sumanda matayo, manda bhagya upadrita. Very, very, no capacity, no ritual capacity, no purity. So that's the quality of human beings in Kali Yuga. So the Lord appears in his most magnanimous manifestation, his name and his devotee form. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, Sri Gauranga is the most merciful form of the Lord, and he appears in the age most in need of mercy. The holy name is the final and complete mercy of the Lord. So the mercy level in Kali Yuga is supreme and unrestricted. It's quite something, no? There is no restrictions for it, which is also mind-boggling. There's no restrictions. The adhikar, there's no demands or restriction for a particular adhikar. The adhikar is not an issue there. Minimal. So the divine judgment is pure, unconditional, and universally accessible mercy. Universally accessible mercy. In different ages, the mercy, you have to have qualification for receiving that mercy. In Kali Yuga, nothing. So here's the grand arc, just to conclude this whole thing. Here's a full theology in one sentence. The Yuga do not show God changing. So it's not about, the description is not about Krishna manifesting, changing different forms and things like that. It's not about, that's not the theology. The theology is to show Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, coming closer and closer to the fallen conditioned souls. That's the understanding that we have of the Yuga Dharmas, or the avatars, of the Yuga avatars. It's not that the Lord comes in a different form, with a different color, changes form, but it's actually the coming closer and closer and closer to the living entities, the fallen souls. So again, Satya, greatness revealed; Tetra, ritual-based mercy; Dwarpa, personal beautiful mercy; Kali, unconditional mercy through Nam and Sri Gauranga. The Lord becomes more merciful as the jivas become more fallen. This is the living theology behind this session of the Bhagavatam. So, we can conclude like that and just ask for, we can discuss. Krishna does not withdraw himself as the world falls. He descends. He makes the path simpler, easier, sweeter, and more merciful, until finally in Kali Yuga, everything is contained in his name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Any comments or questions? Yes, Sri Vallabha Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So, I'm sorry, I have to go a little early, so a quick question to you. Here it is said that in Dwapar Yuga, the Lord appears in his dark complexion, and in the purport, it is said that it is mostly the Vishnu form, but Jiva Goswami says that it is Lord Krishna.
Right.
But there is some problem with that, if it is Lord Krishna, because the purpose of Yuga Avatar is to establish Yuga Dharma. So what is the point of establishing Yuga Dharma at the end of the Yuga? Because in Dwapar Yuga, Krishna appeared at the end of Dwapar Yuga. Actually, logically it means that the Yuga Dharma should be at the beginning of the Yuga.
Yeah, that's a very, very
So how this Jiva Goswami's description of this dark complexion form wearing Pita Vastra, that Pitambar dhoti and bluish complexion, how it fits there?
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. You have an insight for that?
No.
Haribhakti Prabhu?
I'm not sure, but Jiva
You
Goswami...
get the microphone.
I am not remembering exactly, but Jiva Goswami describes something, Rupa Goswami describes something in Laghu Bhagavatamrit, wherein he mentions that the Yuga avatar for Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga, where the colors are given golden and darkish, so something interchanged. So he's mentioning some different avatars are there for as Yuga avatars also. I'll get the reference and give you.
Yeah. It's usually it's the understanding that Krishna is the Yuga avatar of Dwarpa, but it's true, he appears at the end of Dwarpa, you know. So, and you know, Krishna also is a Lila avatar, because there's the other thing, there's the Lila avatars. And the Lila avatars have a whole different thing. I say, for example, I was thinking, okay, we're talking about minimal mercy in Satya Yuga, but Lord Nrsimhadev appears in Satya Yuga. And Lord Nrsimhadev is among, and say Lord Ramachandra in Tetra Yuga. And they're especially in a, you know, position of mercy, displays of mercy that is, you know, up there with you know, the manifestations of the Lord. So Lila avatars function differently than the Yuga avatars. So I'm not sure, it's a good question to try to research, you know, exactly how Krishna established the Yuga Dharma even before, you know, making his manifestation in this world. Yeah, good, thank you. Any other comment or question? Krishna Archana, before we...
I was reflecting on the point that action was required in Dwapara Yuga because the religious capacity of people had declined. So it's interesting that the mind is assisted by external action of sacrifice. So I was relating it a little bit to moving to Kali Yuga, where the it's usage of the tongue, and there's fire sacrifice, and there's deity worship, but of course the emphasis being on Sankirtan, so usage of the voice. So I was just thinking how the mind needs to be assisted in multiple ways in Kali Yuga, but in Dwapara Yuga, just the one external action of sacrifice assisted the mind. So I was just thinking about that.
Yeah. I mean, all the methods of worship are present throughout. The thing is the capacity of the people. I mean, the piety and the religiosity of peoples in previous ages was much greater, obviously. And in Tetra Yuga, people were also still, the diminished was in their capacity to be able to meditate for long periods of time, to have that sort of peacefulness, internal peacefulness and control to meditate. But they were capable of performing these great sacrifices with proper capacity. So so it's all about, you know, I mean, and you can understand that because of their capacity, the system was perfect. The system of sacrifice, and by that they will obtain, you know, elevation and obtain perfection too. So there was that type of elevation right there. So anyway, I don't know if I... Anything else? Okay, thank you so much everybody. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.